What's up? This is The Vinyl Casket, home to the lamest taste. You can check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube at The Vinyl Casket, one word. We can subscribe, like, and comment, hit the bell for much, much more. This is my favorite series that takes me a while to do because it's not something I joke about. This is Rewind Reviews. This is episode 9. Episode 1 obviously is like a trial episode, and then there was a mini episode between 7 and 8. That was for Jumper. That was basically the prototype of what's probably going to be rewatch reviews eventually, when I just review something I've already watched before and it's a singular movie. But this is Rewind Reviews, where the focus of this playlist and this series is to talk about a TV series, a trilogy, or franchise of movies that I enjoy, have watched, and have either recently rewatched or decided to dive into and talk about, right? So far, it's followed me rewatching stuff with my wife, and then talking about things that I've already seen either multiple times or I've never seen before, but I've always been interested in, but I watched it as a series. So it's an overview as a whole instead of an individual review. So this is, as you saw on the hold screen, and I'm sorry I couldn't find a good image that had better quality, but this is The Hobbit. So 3 movies in The Hobbit. Obviously, episode 8 was Lord of the Rings, which was a fantastic rewatch. Wife's first time really going through it, loved it. Hobbit rewatch was okay. I wouldn't say it lived up to Lord of the Rings. And this is my personal review. You guys get in the comments, you can thrash me. I don't care. It's fine. Hobbit as a rewatch was not as enjoyable as Lord of the Rings as a rewatch. And I feel like graphics wise, I feel like Lord of the Rings, and I'm just diving right into the overview. Lord of the Rings, I feel like the filming, the picture quality, the framing setup, special effects, CGI and real stuff, I feel like it just held up better, even though it's older. But I have a special connection to The Hobbit as a film goer, as a human being, being that Lord of the Rings came out when I was middle school, entering high school. I was younger, didn't have my own money, didn't have a car, whatever. The Hobbit was a series that came out entirely while I was in college. With the 3 movies making up this trilogy being The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, Desolation, that's the last one, right? No. Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smog, and The Battle of the Five Armies. Coming out in 2012, 2013, and 2014. These are like almost 3-hour long movies. I'm still shocked that they did this. I'm assuming that the film process, because it's all based off of one book, the film process was consistent. They booked these actors and everything and locations and everything as a giant set for an extended period of time, and then I'm assuming they filmed consecutively. They finished filming the first story, and then they had a crew editing that footage while they were filming the footage for the next story, and they probably edited it down. They probably made 10 hours worth of film on all 3 of these, and then condensed, had a director, a producer, and a whole editing crew and everything corrugating all the footage into these 3 movies, because these are massive motion pictures with crazy amounts of CGI, crazy amount of money going into the casting and everything, and they were huge, lengthy films, and they came out consistently in a span of 3 years, 12, 13, 14, like that, like fire. You don't see that at all anymore. Massive films like the Marvel movies that hit like the 2.5 hour long whatever, we have slowed down to the point where we get like 2 or 3 a year. And I know writer guild strikes and stuff like that happen. I get it, but still, undertaking what The Hobbit did when it came out is incredible. Because honestly, I feel like, and if I go to the Lord Lord of the Rings. There's another one coming. 2001, 2003. All right, Lord of the Rings did the same things, which I didn't know. I didn't realize that. So Lord of the Rings did the same thing. So I'm assuming it was just the style in which they filmed it. Like I said, that my theory here is that it was consecutive filming, a book for an extended period of time, and then they have an editing crew going as they finish each one. That's my theory. But this came out. I had a car. I had friends, I had money, I had a job, I was ready to do it. You know, it came out, me and my friend Dave in theaters saw all three of these movies. So I've always had a nostalgic connection because it was one of the first things, as The Conjuring, I believe, and Jurassic World and the newer Planet of the Apes. These are movies that I love the franchise, grew up loving the franchise, and now had the opportunity and the experience to check these new entries, these new trilogies, these new additions to those nostalgic franchises that I've loved my whole life. I got to now see them in theaters as a set, you know. So all 2012, I was a freshman in college, and then a sophomore, then a junior. So my first 3 years of college, I believe these came out towards the summer. My friend Dave got home from college, and every year for 3 years, we went and saw these movies as they were released in theaters. So I had this really good connection. So I couldn't wait to watch Lord of the Rings and Hobbit with my wife when I found out she was interested and she had never seen it. And I was so excited for The Hobbit. And when the Lord of the Rings happened and she loved it, I was so excited. And then rewatching The Hobbit, I'm like, this didn't live up to my hype. I overbuilt the hype. In theater, these movies are great. Across the board, 5 out of 5. They were great release experiences. Watching them now and talking to my other best friend, Teddy, who thrashed these, was very realistic. Did not have any nostalgia connection to them at all. CGI is not that great. The acting, the joke is that these movies are all about walking around. This movie did not try to fight that. But good overall story. I really enjoyed the backup and the way they built Gollum and all the connections it makes for his appearance in Lord of the Rings and how they established the ring and all of that. Like, obviously adding the Brown Wizard and building up backstory and lore to establish the universe so that Lord of the Rings felt more fleshed out than it ever did because you got all this information that led into that story. So you already had an expansive story and you put all these things that made it even bigger, like leading in, like little nooks and crannies. That was really interesting and really cool. They did a great job with the story. I just think visually it doesn't hold up. It doesn't do the same experience that Lord of the Rings does still to this day, especially now with the Prime show coming that's been out. It doesn't hold a candle, but I will give you my ratings here. Unexpected Journey, we're gonna give a 4.2. Desolation of Smog, we're gonna give a 4, and Battle of the Five Armies, we're going to give a 4.1. And while those may seem high scores, in my opinion, because I can tell you, Lord of the Rings was 4.5, 4.6, and 4.5. So none of them came close to Lord of the Rings. While I still regard them as good movies, and my experience just rewatching them was fun and enjoyable, I do think that a lot of these movies could get cut down. But it's still a good overview experience. I still recommend rewatching it if you haven't. But I highly recommend Lord of the Rings more. I think they're good. I think they do what they got to do. I just don't think that visually they hold up the same way. Editing could be refined a little bit. A remastered version might blow your mind. This was pretty good, but didn't hold a candle to how I held it in my brain. I really held Hobbit above Lord of the Rings, and then rewatching them, it flip-flopped. That being said, guys, get in the comments. What's your opinion? Have you rewatched it? Are you going to? What series do you think I should rewatch next? I'm looking at this Skewiverse from Kevin Smith. I'm looking at the Chronicles of Riddick, and Hunger Games is almost done. I got part 2 of the last movie the last movie. I'm in the middle of watching that, so that will probably be episode 10. This is episode 9 of Rewind Reviews. Check out the playlist. And then probably a Skewiverse. Did I do American Pie? American Pie I'll probably do in 2 videos, being the main series and then the spin-off videos. But yeah, get in the comments. What are your suggestions? Did you like it? Did you not? The whole thing. Check out all the videos I put out. There's a ton of content. Thank you guys so much. This is The Vinyl Casket, home to lamest taste. You can check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, where you can subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the bell for much more. And do me a massive favor and stay lame.